Hello, world history students. This is Mrs. Politsky, and I have your notes for Chapter 28, Section 3, Hitler and Nazi Germany. And we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the rise of Hitler and a little bit about his background here. But just so you know, Hitler was not born in Germany. He was actually born in Austria. Um, Adolf Hitler soon um, kind of was trying to find his way. As a child, he was raised as a Roman Catholic, but kind of strayed away from the church. He also had a desire to go to art school, and I'll show you here in a moment some of his examples of artwork. But during World War I, he actually fought in the German army. And this kind of comes after a period of time when Hitler, in his late teens, early 20s, kind of just floated around. Some people even say that he was probably homeless at some point in time. But he ended up going to Germany and he ended up joining the German army and he fought in World War One. And when the war ends, he is devastated. There's stories of him suffering from a bout of hysteria where he literally, upon hearing the news that Germany has basically has uh, agreed to the armistice, has gone blind. Okay, so after his time in World War One, he kind of drifts a little bit and finds this group of people known as the National Socialist or the Nazi Party, and he kind of joins them. But to kind of show you a little example of some of the things that he had done, Hitler had really wanted to go to art school. And he, was a fairly decent artist when it came to architectural drawings, but a lot of the professors at the art schools really didn't see anything overly exciting about his work, and he wasn't accepted. And some people say, well, had he been accepted, maybe we wouldn't have had some of the craziness of the middle part of the 20th century. So as he joins the National Socialist Party, Hitler kind of rises through the ranks. He finds that he is a pretty competent speaker and is giving speeches. And the next thing you know, he's kind of leading the group. In 1923, members of the Nazi Party are trying to overthrow the government. And they do this in what is called the Beer Hall Push, starting in Munich of 1923. This little insurrection didn't get very far, and actually it landed Hitler in jail for a period of time. Though I would have to say, while in jail, for the most part, he was kind of treated as a celebrity. And while he was there, he wrote a book called Mein Kampf, which means My Struggle in English, where he kind of outlines his vision. He talks about extreme nationalism, strong anti Semitism, anti communism, social Darwinism, which is this idea of survival of the fittest theories. And he talks about Lebensraum, which is this desire for Germany to have living space through expanding its borders. Remember, after World War One, Germany lost a considerable amount of territory in parts of Europe as a result of the Treaty of Versailles. And Lebensraum is basically a great way to get that land back. In 1933, German President Paul von Hindenburg appointed Hitler Chancellor of Germany. This comes following a number of Nazi victories in what is known as the Reichstag. The Reichstag is kind of Germany's equivalent of our Congress. And within the Reichstag, over the 1920s, Hitler's members of his Nazi party were winning seats. And by the time we get to about 1933, the Nazis, even though they don't have like a dominant, I would say, hold on the Reichstag. They have enough seats in the Reichstag to influence politics. And this is kind of how Hitler kind of, I don't want to say weasel, but yeah, kind of weasels his way into power. In March of 33, the Reichstag passes what are known as the Enabling Act. This act allows Hitler the grand opportunity to seize power. And for the most part, it makes him a dictator. It basically says for a temporary period of time, he's going to have absolute power. Well, temporary becomes basically, kind of the way. Um, Hindenburg, just so you know, within a year, he passes away. So in 1934, there is nothing stopping Hitler. He is basically given the title of Der Fuhrer, which basically means he is the absolute leader of Germany. So after coming to power, Hitler started establishing concentration camps. These are for people who publicly opposed him. Initially, we're talking about political opponents, people who were basically obstinate in following the Nazis, resisting that. And then eventually, this would include to come to known as Jews and Romas and homosexuals and individuals who were developmentally disabled and such. So, hostility towards or the prejudice against Jews is called anti Semitism. In 1935, there was the passing of what is called the Nuremberg Laws. This series of laws basically eliminated citizenship for Jews, German Jews. It basically said that if you were a Jew and you were working for the German government, you would automatically lose your job. And it also defined what it takes to be Jewish. So if your parents were non-Jews, but let's say one of your grandparents was a Jew, that would basically make you a Jew, regardless of what religion you were practicing. And there were Christians, because of maybe a grandparent, that were deemed a certain class of being Jews and lost their citizenship. But they also lost their civil and property rights, they lost their voting rights, they were limited to what kind of jobs that they could hold. Uh, and as a result, we started seeing some Jews who had the ability to leave Germany actually leave. But you have to understand, in the United States, we had certain immigration laws that made it very difficult for Jews to come to the United States. Had our laws been a little more flexible, there probably would have been more German Jews immigrating to the US in the 1930s. Anyway, in number seven, there was an event in 1938, around November the 9th, 1938, known as Kristallnacht. Um, this event was sparked because of a killing, a murder that happened actually in Paris. A Polish Jew who had fled his homeland had found out news that his father was being sent to a concentration camp, being deported. And as a result, he goes into a German embassy in Paris and shoots a low level German Nazi and murders him. And what ends up happening is Hitler uses this death as a way to kind of rally people against the Jews in Germany. And he basically stages this, riot that's going to become known as Kristallnacht, where synagogues were burnt down, businesses were looted, basically people were killed as a result of it. And it starts basically this downward spiral about how the German government is going to go after the Jews. Thank you very much.